In late 2024, tension gripped the Berlaymont building in Brussels. European Commission leaders faced a pivotal decision: impose steep tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. The move was framed as a defense of European industry, protecting jobs, heritage, and the future of automaking. European automakers, once dominant, were now threatened by affordable, high-tech Chinese EVs. The vote was a rare show of unity, a declaration of industrial sovereignty. Leaders celebrated, believing tariffs would buy time for Europe's carmakers to catch up in the EV race. The plan: invest in batteries, software, and new models, shielded from relentless Chinese competition. On the surface, it was a classic protectionist strategy: nurture domestic industry, fend off external threats. But beneath the bold rhetoric lay a dangerous paradox. The very EVs Europe hoped to build depended on supply chains rooted in China. The blockade targeted Chinese cars, but risked antagonizing the supplier of critical components. In trying to defend its industry, Europe had picked a fight with its most vital partner. The future of European automaking now hung in the balance. Europe's fear was rooted in a rapid market shift. Legacy brands like Volkswagen and BMW, once global leaders, were losing ground. The EV revolution leveled the playing field. Batteries and software replaced complex engines, opening doors for new competitors. Chinese brands like BYD and NIO weren't just cheap, they were innovative, leading in battery tech and user experience. Their cars offered longer range, faster charging, and better software, all at lower prices. By 2023, Chinese EVs captured over 8% of Europe's market, with projections to double soon. European automakers, burdened by higher costs and slower processes, couldn't compete on price. The threat was existential: lose the EV race, lose the industry. The auto sector is Europe's backbone, 13 million jobs, a major share of GDP. Surrendering leadership to China meant a massive transfer of wealth and power. Blocking Chinese EVs was about more than cars. It was about economic survival. The move was a desperate attempt to stem a rising tide, but the real challenge was just beginning. At the heart of Europe's dilemma are rare earth elements, 17 obscure metals essential to modern technology. Despite the name, they're not scarce, but are rarely found in concentrated mineable deposits. Extracting and refining them is difficult, costly, and environmentally damaging. Elements like neodymium, praseodymium, and dysprosium power everything from smartphones to missile systems. A pinch of these elements can transform a product, making it lighter, faster, and more efficient. The process to turn ore into usable metals involves toxic chemicals and creates hazardous waste. Developed nations, wary of pollution, outsource this dirty work. The world became dependent on countries willing to bear the environmental cost. This created a hidden, dangerous dependency. One nation, decades ago, made a strategic bet to dominate this sector. The global supply chain for rare earths became dangerously concentrated. Most only realized the risk when it was too late. Rare earths are the secret behind high-performance electric vehicles. The most efficient EV motors use powerful permanent magnets made from neodymium and praseodymium. These magnets enable rapid acceleration and longer range, key selling points for consumers. Small amounts of dysprosium and terbium are added for heat resistance. Without these elements, motors would be bulkier, less efficient, and more expensive. Each EV needs about 1 to 2 kilograms of rare earth magnets. Multiply that by millions of cars, and Europe's demand is staggering. The Green Deal's success hinges on a steady supply of these materials. Rare earths are also found in sensors, steering, speakers, and even glass polishing. As cars become more electric and connected, reliance on rare earths will only grow. The entire industry is tied to this fragile supply chain. Securing it is now a matter of strategic urgency. China's dominance in rare earths is no accident. It's the result of decades of strategic investment. Since the 1980s, China poured resources into mining and crucially processing rare earths. Willing to bear the environmental cost, China built a near monopoly. By the 2000s, it controlled not just mining, but the entire value chain, especially processing and magnet manufacturing. Today, China mines over 70% and refines about 90% of the world's rare earths. Even materials mined elsewhere are often sent to China for processing. This gives Beijing immense leverage over global industries. China has used this power before, halting exports to Japan in 2010, causing global panic. For Europe, this means its EV ambitions are at China's mercy. Tariffs on Chinese cars were a warning shot, but China holds the real power. Restricting rare earth exports could halt European EV production overnight. Europe's tactical move faces a potentially catastrophic countermove. Europe scrambled to break free from China's grip, launching the Critical Raw Materials Act. The plan find new rare earth sources in Europe and build local processing and magnet factories. Geologists search for deposits in Sweden, Finland, and Greenland. New refineries and factories were announced in Estonia, Germany, and France. Governments poured in subsidies, hoping to build a resilient supply chain. But reality hit hard. Developing mines and processing plants takes a decade or more. The auto industry needed materials now, not in the 2030s. Environmental regulations and public opposition slowed every project. Mining and refining rare earths is polluting, and few communities wanted them nearby. Local resistance and strict laws created endless delays. Europe's ambition clashed with its own values and bureaucracy. The path to autonomy was steeper than anyone imagined. The Kiruna discovery in Sweden was hailed as a breakthrough, Europe's largest rare earth deposit. Hopes soared that it could end dependence on China. The site was near existing mining infrastructure, promising a head start. But LKAB, the mining company, warned it would take 10-15 years to bring material to market. First, years of exploration and permitting. Then, a long battle for environmental approval. The mine sits in Sapmi, homeland of the indigenous Sami people, who oppose the project. Environmentalists joined them, fearing toxic waste in the Arctic ecosystem. The project became a flashpoint. Economic needs versus environmental and cultural rights. Europe's green ambitions collided with its own standards and local democracy. Leaders in Brussels had little power to override local opposition. Kiruna symbolized the continent's dilemma: urgent need, but distant hope. The solution remained out of reach. By 2025, the consequences of Europe's gamble became painfully clear. China didn't impose an outright embargo but tightened export controls on rare earth magnets. Shipments to Europe slowed, prices soared, and automakers faced crippling shortages. Production lines at Volkswagen, Stellantis, and Renault ground to a halt. A tiny component, rare earth magnets, brought billion-euro factories to a standstill. The just-in-time supply chain became a liability. Automakers slashed forecasts. Stocks tumbled and layoffs loomed. The tariffs kept some Chinese cars out, but left European EVs unfinished. The policy backfired spectacularly. Europe couldn't build its own cars. The crisis rippled through suppliers and the broader economy. The focus on final assembly ignored upstream vulnerabilities. Europe had protected the house, but lost control of the foundation. Now, that foundation was crumbling. As 2025 ends, Europe faces a harsh reality: no easy way out. The bold stand against Chinese EVs has become a lesson in global interdependence. Leaders now weigh three tough options. First, negotiate with Beijing, ease tariffs, and restore rare earth supplies, at the cost of ceding the EV market to China. Second, double down on autonomy, fund alternative motor tech, fast-track mining, and override local opposition, risking environmental and social backlash. Third, build alliances with the US, Australia, and others to create a new supply chain, an ambitious long-term project. None offer quick relief. Factories remain idle and the pain is real. The crisis exposes the complexity of modern industrial policy. The green transition is entangled with geopolitics and resource realities. Europe's dream of a sovereign green auto industry is on hold. The road ahead demands strategic vision, political courage, and public sacrifice. The choice: compromise with China or endure hardship to forge a new path. The outcome remains uncertain.